believe we are aware of the situation in Nigeria and the things going on in the tech space and the worries of the youth about the future of work and things like that. So I believe that's what we're trying to address here. And before I go into saying anything or asking any question, I would just want to pass the mic. Okay, there's a mic's already passed. If there's anything we just want to say before this discussion starts, just before we start talking and saying a lot of things and we forget about it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. My name is Seyi, Ladejobi, of course. I work with the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. It's an agency of the government, and what we try to do is we have a clear mandate to provide job and wealth creation opportunities to residents of Lagos State. One of the strategic pillars of the fund is access to skills, and so we believe that equipping the youth with industry-relevant skills, integrating technology in the way the training is being delivered is a step in the right direction to address some of the fears that the youth have with regards coping in this future of work, as they say. Yeah? So
I could go next. My name is Tolu Agunbiade, and I'm the General Manager for ALX. We're part of a larger group, the African Leadership Group, and our vision is to develop 3 million ethical and entrepreneurial leaders in Africa by 2035. And you might ask, why 2035? Because according to multiple reports, that's when Africa would have the largest workforce in the world. And that is one impending disaster if we don't do something about it. The way we've decided to do something about it is through education and specifically leadership development. So here in Nigeria, there are three main things we want to do. One, develop the middle manager layer, because we think that they're the ones who will then empower everybody else under and also communicate with people above. Two, create work readiness and employability skills for entry-level professionals. And three, support people, especially non-data inclined people, to understand how to use data to make informed decisions. So I'm hoping by the end of this discussion, I will share with you some insights that we have, but you'll also learn from my co-panelists how we can address the future of work.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Femi Taiwo. I work with Leap Africa. Leap Africa is a youth leadership development organization. Our goal is to raise leaders that will transform Africa. And we do this by shaping mindsets, helping young people to develop the values and the skills they need to be able to lead their lives first and then lead others. Our work primarily is focused in secondary schools. We believe that foundation of a young person's life in secondary school is crucial and critical. So our programming in secondary school is all about helping young people to develop the leadership skills, the employability skills they need, the values, the confidence, the competence they need to be able to transition successfully post-secondary school and to change their world, basically.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Solape Hammond. I work with the Lagos State government, and the areas I focus on are the Sustainable Development Goals, the investments, particularly those that are looking to solve those problems, wealth creation for entrepreneurs, and particularly the MSME bracket, and employment. So this is a very relevant topic for me. From Lagos State, you can tell that this is very aligned to what we do. In the development agenda that we have for the next 4 years, we've actually put education and technology together in one pillar, because we think you need technology to enable education, and we need to educate our people to be able to fully leverage on technology. So the thing that's most important for me today is what we take out of here. And I'm hoping we come up with, I'm very solution-oriented, so we all know what the problems are. I don't want to go into the whys and why nots, but more the what to-dos about the future. And I'm hoping we are able to talk about what needs to happen with regards to providing education for all, an education that has an outcome, i.e. leads to employment, balance across the genders, inclusion for those who today don't have the skills that are regarded as the skills for the future, and how we can use education technology to bring them up to speed. Those who today cannot read and write, and how we can use education and technology to help them be able to find a place in this future that we're describing. And ultimately, of course, how we can use education and technology to create wealth for the people of Lagos.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we now have a rough idea of where our panelists are coming from and what we have for you. I believe what we are trying to answer, it's like what she has said. We're trying to get a solution, try to see how we can make the future of work a safe place for youth. So we may have a few questions I would like to ask. I believe there will also be questions from the audience. And I would like to stress the fact that some of the questions we're asking, they are questions that have been gotten from consultations from different youth organizations around the region. Because my organization, United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth, we consult youths from different regions and try to get their views before we take any of our actions. So most of the questions we'll be asking, some of them actually, are questions from youths from different regions of Africa and also outside Africa. Okay, so I would like to ask a question. I don't want to particularly say anybody should answer a particular question, but I believe we can have 2 or 3 answers as we look at the time, or we can try to be cautious with the time. So let's say, first question. Now, we are looking at the future of work, and we know that definitely the way this workspace is changing. There are some skills that are required. So what skills will Africa require for the future jobs? What skills do you think African youth have? I'm more particular about the youth. So what skills do you think will require for the future of work? I believe we are all youth and we are that. Okay, so I don't know who wants to go first.
Okay, so first, I think I'll take this from an employability angle, right? What does employability say? It says the ability to get that initial employment, to do that job, to learn within the job, and then to move on to the next job you want to attain. And so you ask yourself, what are those employability skills that an individual needs? You look at effective communication, for instance. You need to be clear with what you say and what you mean. A lot of times, people can't communicate very well with others. For effective communication to happen, you need to also have a talent when it comes to listening. That means you listen, you take cues from the non-verbal communication as well. So effective communication is very critical for anybody that is looking for work out there. Another skill that is very important that everybody needs to get is emotional intelligence, right? There are free courses online that you can take when it comes to emotional intelligence. You're looking at self-awareness, you're looking at empathy, you're looking at motivation, you're looking at self-regulation. Self-regulation is very key for me because I know under 35, I won't say youth or I won't say Generation X or Y or Z or anything. What you realize is a lot of times people get work, and because they are stuck in their old ways, when it's time to communicate with your boss or your boss gives an instruction, you're here saying, that's the way I am. That's the way I do my things. If you don't like me, leave me. You need to drop that to get a job, right? Another skill that is very critical in terms of employability skills is basic ICT. Now, you're either going to work for a small MSME or you're going to work for a big company. You need to equip yourself with the basic knowledge when it comes to certain tools or applications. So take, for instance, the Google suite. Basic Excel, teach yourself about those things at an early age. Nobody is going to teach you when you get a job. And so for an entry-level job opportunity, when it comes up, you need to be very good with those basic things, and then you can build on it. That's the whole essence of employability. Another skill set that, employability skill that you need to touch on is, I've said, critical thinking. Now, what has happened is a lot of times, like Toyosi said on her panel, the education did not prepare you to think, to apply a knowledge that you have gained. So what you see is a lot of people don't think through process. We just react, we act. So for you to get a job in today's labor market, you need to be very good when it comes to critical thinking, that ability to think through a process, right? I think those are like key skills that would jump out to your employers during interviews. You need to project these skills at any interview, right?
Hope we are taking notes, please. Okay. Let's give a round of applause, please. Okay, so I would like to add something. Like when she said basic IT skills, and sometimes you see youths that cannot even use Microsoft Word, and you are like, and you are surprised. And most of our phones are just used for Instagram, you snap, and you post pictures and things like that. The reason why I said phones, some people complain I don't have a laptop. You have a phone. A phone is a computer too. Okay. Okay.
I absolutely love everything Seyi has mentioned, but for me, I think Nigeria is in a slightly different place where we look at the global indicators around the future skills that are needed, and those are the ones. But those are predicated on the fact that a lot of those economies have some skills that are in effect today that we don't have. And I think it's important to find that balance as well. So in addition to that, I think there's some hardier skills that we need, because having employability skills predicates or assumes that there will be a company somewhere that you're working in. But we have two things missing in Nigeria around building companies, big companies that can employ people. As Nigerians, we don't have the right business skills, and that's why a lot of our businesses don't succeed. We also don't have the skills that it takes to industrialize, and that's why we can't build big companies. So I think those two areas are also extremely important. Looking at industrialization, advanced manufacturing, everyone who knows me, I can't build anything. I'm not an engineer. I can't do anything. I can change a light bulb. But I know that we need those skills. We have to start building not just software, but also hardware. And then we need the business skills as well. Everyone wants to start a company, but many people cannot start a company. They don't know what it takes to run a company. So you have a great idea, or as they say, even doctors, people who have been trained to the zenith of their career, fail at running hospitals, because what it takes to be a good doctor is not what it takes to run a good business. And so that's why that's another area that we're focused on at the LSCTF. Entrepreneurship skills are extremely critical. I just wanted to add that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for adding that, Ma. So I don't know if somebody else wants to add something else.
Well, I want to say what they said in a different way, if I may. The reality of the future of work. Why is work even changing, right? Work is changing because we have new technologies, new ways of working, right? We have machine learning, artificial intelligence, a lot of big data changing the way we work. So two major things are crucial, which is like a summary of what they've said. As we are going ahead into the future of work, the ability to be human is something that we have to, it's one edge humans will need to have. By being human, skills like emotional intelligence, leadership, right? The ability to collaborate and work well with others, to communicate effectively will be essential. I mean, you can call them soft skills, life skills, employability skills, but those skills are crucial and important. Now, secondly, machines, technology has provided a lot of solutions and potential solutions. So the ability to be able to make the most of that. So that's where critical thinking, problem solving, not lower cognitive skills right now, not data entry, none of those, but the ability to manipulate data more and make use of things, what exists to provide solutions, or the ability to generate ideas and leverage the solutions that exist, that technology provides, and take it to market, entrepreneurship. Do you understand? So that's basically the way I frame it. And it's interesting to add this. I'm framing it not from the perspective of people in this room. I think all of us in this room are privileged. I'm not even framing it from the perspective of those of us who are probably in a university or have graduated from a university. I'm framing it from the perspective of the bottom of the pyramid, the young people in secondary schools or in primary schools just going to secondary schools. And I'm saying, how are we preparing them with these skills? That's the way I'm framing it. Because the present educational system and the present way we teach them does not allow them to have these skills, right? So that's the way I'm framing my own conversation around.
Okay. Okay. So I'm very glad for his last statement. It takes me to my next question. So, how do we answer that question? How can we prepare youth for the future of job? Since they don't have this skill, we feel that they don't have enough, maybe EI skills and other skills like that, soft skills and things. So how do we get them ready for the future of job?
Okay, sorry, let me just say this. For us at LSCTF, one of the things that we're trying to do is, yes, we can't change it immediately, but, take baby steps in the right directions. One of the programs that we do, we have two programs. There's the Employability, Lagos State Employability Support Project that we train youth digital skills, and then the training is free. As long as you're a resident of Lagos State, you can access, you can apply, and then you'll be part of...
You there? Hope we heard that she said the training is what? Is what? Free. Okay.
Okay, I'll clarify. The employability program. The training is free, right? And then one of the tech sectors that we work with is technology and then digital skills. We train UI, UX. And so that is there. We also have another program, talent development program under the Lagos Innovates. That's our tech-driven strategic pillar. And that is a program that we run as a student loan. So the idea is you can access up to 250,000, and then you can go for any of the ICT trainings with any of our accredited partners. The idea is at the end of the training would somewhat improve your ability and your placement chances with employers. So that's one of the ways that we try to help prepare the youth for the future of work, equipping them with industry-specific skills that are required to stay on the job and then possibly move on and then get other work.
Okay, so sorry, I would like you to add and kind of make clear something that how do these youths in Lagos, because I know most of your programs or all of the programs are in Lagos for now. Yes. So how do people in Lagos get access to these programs, to these schemes and the rest?
Okay, so for the employability program, we have a website, is www.lsesp.ng. And then when the programs are on, you can apply. That is also free. For the talent development program in partnership with Honeywell is also on the LSETF platform, but you navigate your way on the lagosinnovate.ng platform where you can apply. We also have presence across the 20 local government areas where you can engage with our liaison officers to know how you can apply for any of the programs that we run. So we're online and we're also offline. We're also moving in the tech space.
Thank you very much for that. Okay. We have clap if you want to.
I just wanted to jump in on this a bit, just around how we prepare youth for the future of work. And I think it requires multiple stakeholders to be involved. I love hearing from you, Seyi, about what the government is doing. I think there's a place that the private sector also plays. There's a place that individuals also have to play in this. When you were talking about what skills people need, one of the first things that came to mind, and maybe it's because I am a teacher at heart or an educator at heart, is people learning how to learn. I think that the next time we have this panel, we will not be talking about how technology is taking jobs. It will be something else. Data science won't be the hot thing. It will be another thing. It might be health tech. It might be something else. In this world with so much information, things change so rapidly. The question is, can you adapt as quickly as things are changing? And there's only so much an organization can do for you if you don't do something for yourself. So you had mentioned what people are doing with their phones or their laptops. What are we doing for ourselves? How are we making sure that every time something new happens, you're learning to learn, you're learning to be adaptable, you're learning to collaborate with other people? These days, a lot of my friends, and I know, like you said, we are privileged, they don't even think about finding jobs in Nigeria anymore. They're like, the internet is there, I can work remotely, I'll earn cash dollars from another company, I'll work in London, there's no need for all these Nigerian employers and their stress. So think about that, the gig economy and how that's advancing what we're doing and how you're not limited by your location anymore. With that in mind, what are you doing about it? That being said, shameless plug, we're launching our own program in July 2020, and it's focused on employability skills. It's called the ALX Launchpad. So when that's up and running, please watch TechCabal Space. They'll help us publish it. Read their newsletters too. Thanks.
TechCabal, please collect your royalties from.
Okay, let me just pitch in on that, Femi. Let me start with two stories. And I would just share some figures and maybe just contribute from that. One of the things we have the privilege of doing in Leap Africa is train teachers to prepare young people for the future of work. And the basis is them focusing more on helping them to develop the soft skills, the employability skills, the life skills. By default, soft skills, life skills are not theoretical. It's more like tech. You don't learn programming by drawing C++ and Java on the board. You learn by doing. You grow by doing. And so one major way we can help young people develop the skills is create an opportunity for a lot of doing. So the pedagogy and the way we teach in school must change. It has to be project-based learning. We want people to go out and be problem solvers, but you don't give them real-life problems to solve in school, right? So the curriculum, the approach must change. So this year, we had to train 700 plus teacher champions who will train other teachers in 6 countries. One major part of the curriculum where we start telling them about careers and the future of work is asking them, have you even heard the concept, the future of work? And I tell you for a fact, out of these 700 teachers in Kenya, Uganda, Malawi, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Ghana, maybe 20% have heard about the concept of future of work. So when we were playing the videos, shocking them about even the present reality of work and what is already becoming, and now machines are taking over and drones are doing X and that, they're like, wow. Now, think about it. These are secondary school teachers. In most parts of Africa, Africa is the youngest continent. In Nigeria, the median age is 18. The bulk of us are below secondary school, right? The story is the same across most countries in Africa. If the bulk of us are going through public secondary schools or public education, and the public education we're going through is far removed from the 20th century, not even the 21st century, it's not even far removed from the present, let alone the future. That's one opportunity. So how do we prepare them for the future of work? We need to go back and totally overhaul and rethink education and plug in education as a pipeline to this future of work. We have to allow and adopt new styles of teaching, new ways of teaching that are consistent and would help young people to develop the 21st century skills. We have to reduce the gap between school and work. So that's why I like what you're saying, Tolu, that private sector has a part to play. We have to connect the realities of work immediately in school. We have to even move away from employment to deployment, right? Because there are even no jobs. We have to prepare young people to know that you are going to deploy yourself to solve problems, right? Whether as an entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur, starting your own business or working for one that exists already. Another thing is, so beyond even the project-based learning that happens in school, we must create opportunity from the time a child gets to HS3 or SS1, it should already be clocking 2 months of internship, 3 months of internship. I tell you for a fact. Right? So for all of you here that have your own organizations or tech companies, when you're thinking of interns, and don't just think university graduates and youth corps members for your own benefit. We all have a part to play. You have to start taking an SS1 student, an SS2 student. I tell you. So that's one thing we started. This year we had 100 slots in Nigeria for interns for SS1 students. And unlike the previous years, where we only allow students on our programs to access these opportunities. And they work in softcoms. We had Andela hosting some of the students. They work in different organizations, not just tech. Guess what? This year we open it up to students not on our program. That any student in the public secondary school can apply. Out of the 100, guess how many that were not on our program accessed the opportunities? And we only had 2 states, Lagos and Akwa Ibom. Guess how many? How many percent out of 100? 75% were on our program. Is that what you're saying? I tell you, only 3 people. So what we did was that we wanted to use that as a way to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of our program. So we removed ourselves from the interview and just allowed private sector people. If this was an actual job interview, who would you take? Oh yeah, all students apply. Only 3 people that were not on our program. So this was amongst 30 schools only, 30 public schools. It was a test. 15 in Lagos, 15 in Akwa Ibom. All the 30 schools, we have programs running in them, but we only take one third of the students in SS1, thereabout. So the remaining 2/3 are not on our program. And we opened up the internship opportunity. And what were we testing? We were not testing it was just regular, do your CV, answer this essay question, come and speak. So back to all the things we talked about, or look at this problem, analyze, or write about this problem, analyze the problem. So those core skills are missing, and we just have to find a way to get them done.
I'm curious to, sorry, I'm about to take your moderator work from you, but I'm curious to hear if only 3 people outside of your program went through for the internships, how can we scale what Leap Africa is doing in such a way that it's not only your program people that can do this?
Exactly. I like your question, because in Leap Africa,
She's not asking the questions now.
we do projects to generate insight and generate evidence. The goal for us is how can we work in partnership with others to mainstream these solutions. So in Akwa Ibom, for instance, the state government was shocked by that and was excited about what had happened also. So one of the things we're already working on with the state government, they have 252 public schools. How can we take the insights from the curriculum to the teacher training to every element of the program, the mentoring and every element of the program, and mainstream it across the school? So that's something that's already ongoing. And it's also something that's actually about to start with Lagos State. I mean, we're happy with our Commissioner of Education that we have now. So that's a conversation that is ongoing. The goal is we have a lot of people. I like that question. That's the way we should be thinking. That's the way we should all be thinking. How do we scale up? How do we mainstream solution? How do we get the millions of people that need these opportunities to access it? Because we cannot just be thinking 10 schools, 15 schools, 50 schools, okay, or hundreds of thousands of students when there are millions.
Okay,
yeah.
I think we have to move to another question. Okay. Because we can't answer all the questions today. Actually, we can't say it all today. So the little we said, we believe that it will go a long way in addressing some of these issues. So I would like to put 2 of these questions into one, because we looked at our government in Nigeria. We noticed most of the times we have more of, I wouldn't say more of elderly people in the government. Sorry to say. No, I'm not talking about that everybody are elderly. What I'm trying to say is that no, you're making me feel so bad. Okay, what I'm trying to say in essence is that, okay, let's say the youth in Nigeria feel they're not allowed to take more roles in government and decision-making policies. So that's where I'm trying to address. So I feel that if we have more youths in this system, we can have more ideas. Let me put it that way. Let me just say solutions. So we can have different ideas and innovative ideas coming from the youth angle. That since we're trying to solve the youth problem, why not get the youth involved? I think I was in a workshop somewhere in Nairobi. And we have a lot of professors, and we're trying to solve a huge problem. So I was like, so I had to ask the question that, I hope after this research is being done, and you called me to come and represent the youth and get the youth voice ad, which I've done. I hope the youth get involved in this project. That was in January. I'm not receiving any call to say, okay, what is your input? So how do we get the youth involved in policy making, in government, in taking decisions that also affect these youth?
So thanks for that, and thanks for calling me old. I'm not going to forget it.
I'm very sorry.
No, it's fine. So I can speak for Lagos State. I can't really speak for the nation or other states, but I can speak for Lagos State, and this is something we're very, very aware of and very, very determined to change. As I think it was Femi that talked about the fact that the majority of the population is actually below the age of 25. So for us to be able to really, really get to the heart of what's important to them, and for us to be able to have them work with us to move things forward, we have to carry them along. So we do have plans around job shadowing, involving them, and bringing in more young people. I'm sure if you look at the Lagos State cabinet of today, you will notice a dramatic difference. I mean, the commissioner for finance is 34. So, I don't think that's happened anywhere else before. There are a lot of young people, a lot of qualified young people, quite a few people below the age of 40, many more below the age of 50. So that's already happening in Lagos. And we want to get young people involved in government. But as you know, there's quite a bit of apathy between young people and government. I remember when LSCTF started these loans, I was chasing people and begging them to send them, no, it's not real, it's not going to happen. So the engagement process will take some time, but we're committed to doing it. And part of the way to do it is to onboard people, as you've said. So we have something called the Innovation, and it's not under me, but I'll plug it as well, the Innovation Council, and we're running some programs. The end objective is for us to be able to bring in, what our government would like to be able to do is to be able to work with tech companies today and actually use up to 10% of our spend on technology. We also have things that we're doing that we'll be unveiling soon. Let me not steal their thunder, but things will be unveiling soon in terms of what we're going to be committing to innovation, working in conjunction with the universities. So a lot of that is happening today in Lagos. And we're going to be looking to leverage education technology as well. We have a Code Lagos program, which works to bring in technology learning to people in secondary school. And I participated last year at the event doing the judging, and they had some amazing startups that started from there. So that's how we start to do that. But we're looking to work with technology companies, education technology companies. In fact, we're going to be doing some, using some of them to do, to improve on our education outcomes, both at primary school level and secondary school level, starting from next year. So there's a lot of work going on in that space already.
Okay, before somebody else speaks, so I want you to answer one of the questions from the audience, since the mic is already on your cut. So the question says, what's the government looking out for? So I believe most tech companies are trying to partner with the government and get involved. And I believe most of these tech companies are owned by youths. So it's not too far from what we are seeing. So how do we get these tech companies to partner with the government? What are the government looking out for? What are the criteria? What are they looking out for?
So the criteria we're looking out for, so it depends. And what we've done is we're now going to be engaging with companies on 2 levels. The LSCTF has an idea hub, which is literally a website where you can go and put your ideas. And when your idea, they then work with you to mentor, and maybe I'll let Seyi speak a little bit to that.
Okay, so basically the Idea Hub is for small startup. If you haven't really started, maybe from just the ideation stage, like she rightfully said, you can upload your hubs, you are assigned to people within that space that can serve as mentors. Because one of the issues that came up is, yes, there are people that are well advanced in some of these ideas that we want to run. We need guidance, mentoring. So those are some of the services you will get on the Idea Hub. I know it's launching next week. I know TechCabal will also help with that publication, but it's launching next week.
TechCabal is everywhere. Just stay close to them.
Yeah. Okay, so they will help with that. I know we want to launch the Ideation Hub. This was a donation with IHS, and of course, you have access to it. Just upload your ideas, and then you will be assigned to mentors that can handhold you within the tech ecosystem.
So that's one. And of course, then you graduate through the series of programs under Lagos Innovates. So if your idea is strong enough, you apply to the voucher scheme, you get a voucher that gives you space to work, and so on and so forth. On the innovation side, for more mature companies, there's also going to be an innovation portal. And I would advise those who don't know yet, there's an innovation event happening on the 5th and 6th of December. It's all over the place, the Art of Technology in Lagos, all over the place. Just register, because we're looking to actively find tech companies, local tech companies started by young Nigerians that we can buy services from. So please be part of that, and that's really the approach that we want to take. We want to have that engagement, and we'll continue to work to make sure that we can actually patronize young Nigerian businesses.
Okay, so just to take from where she left, on the Lagos Innovate program, like I mentioned, the tech startup support that we do for businesses within the tech space. One of the programs that we run is the workspace voucher. So we realized that some people have ideas, they need a space to work out of in terms of free data, in terms of power. And then so we have a voucher loan system where you can apply for, you get to work out of the co-working spaces that we have in Lagos, and then we give you a universal voucher. You can work, you can apply for 3 months, you can apply for 6 months, you can apply for 12 months. So again, you have access to communities within the tech space, and so that is one program that we run. Another one, again, is targeting the hubs that are big, the co-working space themselves, where they can access hub loans, you know. So, and then the last, like I've said, the talent development program. program, which is equipping youths with tech-driven skills for the future of work. Yeah?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to take the question from the government side now, because we'll be asking you a lot of questions. So this question also involves the government, but I want the private sector and Mr. Femi to also answer more, say more on the question. So the question says, how are governments planning or taking up the answer? Okay. So how are governments and the private sectors changing to support the the growth and innovation of young people? So how are you changing your structure of your organization, or the structure of the way things are being done, so that it will support the growth for innovation for young people? I don't know if the question is quite clear.
I think I just got some kind of confirmation that we officially have a future partnership between ALX and LSTAF. So please put it on record.
That's awesome.
Please put it on record. This is one way that private sector and government partner. You sit on panels together, and then you get a deal. So get on the right panels.
Okay.
No, but on a serious note, no, this is actually serious though, but on a side note, some of the ways that I think the private sector can support with developing youth is, and I think Femi talked about it really well with what they're doing with the internships. You can't just teach people theoretically to do something. You need to have them have ways to apply and practice this. So you might fund interventions in schools or give people scholarships, but if they don't have a way to apply it, all they will have is textbook knowledge. I think one of our previous panelists talked about regurgitation and how that's what schools end up developing people in. So on the government side of things, I would say definitely supporting teachers to have the kind of skills, the right curriculum, the right approach to delivering content. On the other side, pairing them with good job opportunities within the private sector and outside is one way. And then a third thing is having all the key stakeholders in the same room. We can't keep on developing solutions piecemeal, where you sit down in your place and you say, this code will work for the students, or the students will say, this is what teachers need to do. We need everybody in one room to talk about what are we trying to get at, and how can we all understand what role we play in that.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, are our hands busy or something? Let's clap for them now.
So let me pitch into this.
Yes.
I'm going to answer the first two questions. This one and the one you answered previously, where you said, how can government use more young people or leverage the skills, the energy, and the creativity of young people? I personally think one of the most successful things that have happened in this state in the past couple of years is LSETF. And I mean, I have quite a number of friends running it, from Tosi to Seyi, my new friend now, Seyi, and to everyone, to Ayotunde, to everyone. That's the power of young people. Basically, that's the power of young people. LSETF is working and worked because young people were at the forefront driving it, basically. I'm able to having Otto on the board. Otto Rodam on the board. That's just amazing. As a youth, one of the things we pride ourselves in Leap Africa is we're a youth-led, youth-focused organization. Although right now I don't know whether we can, our youthfulness.
So can I cut you a bit, please?
Yeah.
Can we focus more on, now I want us to go outside Lagos now.
Okay.
And not just Lagos. It's
okay, to answer the question broadly.
Africa also. So let's see if we can, let's see if we can go outside Lagos a bit and just give, because some of us also have people outside Lagos that want to benefit for some of those programs. So I believe Leap Africa, from the name Leap Africa, you cover. So let's go outside.
Okay, so to answer your question about private sector, I mean, Tolu answered it very correctly. I'm just going to pitch in an extra. You see, guys, the problems facing us are serious problems. And I was talking to my team yesterday and I was telling them we have to be bigger, bolder, better, and deeper as we are trying to provide solutions. So one major way, we launched our new strategy plan 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember now. And one of the things is we want to combat the problems we solve at a systems level. Now, when you move away from just the project level or the one problem level, and you go deeper into the problem, and you look at all the systems, all the moving parts, you see that the problems are huge and big, and no one sector can combat them alone. Government will be limited in its own way. Private sector will be limited in its own way. The third sector, I'm not actually private sector, I'm in the third sector because we're non-profit. The third sector or social sector will be limited in its own way. So I think one thing we can do together, 2020 is the beginning of a new decade. We have to come together into the room and at least have a roadmap for the whole decade, for 10 years, to say how can we holistically prepare young people for the future of work. If we are using young people, the official youth age now in Nigeria has moved from 18 to 35 to 15 to 29. Hope we all know that. Yeah. So none of us, now even me, that's why I pause and say, well, actually, are we even youthful now? Because we used to say we are 30s, highest of us is 38, but now that it's 15 to 29, I don't even know how many, we still have young people, but how can we go out and say from the pipeline of young people, which is basically SS1 or GS3? GS3, right? From GS3 to post-university, what are the solutions? How are we making sure secondary education is working for young people? How are we making sure those who have left secondary school, NSCTF and other types of intervention across states, Edo jobs, he said we should leave Lagos, is working for those group of people? How can we make sure that polytechnics, TVET, universities are working for young people? How can we make sure NYC is working for young people? And how can we make sure everybody post NYC is working for young people?
Someone speak on behalf of government. So thank you. Deserves a round of applause for that. Okay, so I think we're all in agreement that conversation needs to happen. The multi-stakeholder conversation needs to happen. Academia needs to be part of that conversation. Government, private sector, civil society, media, everybody has a role to play. Two aspects for me. I think we should all be encouraged by what has been achieved by the LSCTF and Edo Jobs type organizations, and even the hubs as well, in shifting our minds about how to learn. So now we have seen that, and Coursera and all and Edvez and ScholarX and all the other platforms for learning have shown us we're not stuck with only learning from schools. So I think we need to take that to another level and have a curriculum plus agenda where we find quick, short, effective ways to train people and deploy them. We don't have, we cannot afford to only focus on the 10-year investment of secondary school and university to skill our people. We have to find short ways to reskill, particularly those who need to be reskilled to fit into the future. So that for me is one. The other thing is government has also done an awesome job de-risking some of these areas, right? I love what LSCTF is doing with Honeywell in providing these learning scholarships. ScholarX does that as well. The private sector needs to step up as well, and when government has de-risked and shown that this works, it's then up to the private sector to scale it. Government doesn't have the capital to scale things. The bulk of this economy is private sector. But when the government has shown the way, don't just leave it as a program that the government does as this, so government does this investment in people. The private sector needs to look aggressively at some of these solutions and figure out how they can scale it and take it all the way.
Okay. I'm afraid you don't have much time, okay? I have a lot of questions that are on the screen. I also have some questions here, but I'm afraid that we don't have enough time to answer the questions. Can we do last word? Yes, we're going to do last word. Everybody have a chance to say the last word. So quickly, I don't know if we can do 30 seconds. Just quickly say something that what to give to us.
Okay, so as we all prepare for the future of work, I think it's very important to say that your personal development is your sole responsibility. There are a lot of opportunities out there. You just need to have your ears on the ground. People can present opportunities, but you need to take that bold step. So for you in the digital space, IBM DNA program, where you can take free courses on how to develop yourself on various areas. People should take advantage of those opportunities. Don't wait for people to hand things over to you.
I said 30
take
seconds.
Responsibility. Sorry, it's pressing on my heart that is your sole responsibility in life, and you need to take ownership of that.
Okay, thank you very much.
The thought that has been recurring in my head is just how we also can step up. So I love that you're saying people should take responsibility, but I also think you also mentioned in the beginning that there's so many privileged people here. I want us to see ourselves as people that can contribute to this, not just benefit from it, but also provide. There's this book I read a long time ago about one way to scale things or spread a gospel is 10, tell 10, tell 10. So you are one person.
Can you get, again?
It's just 10, 10, 10. It's like playing 10, 10, but exactly. My own ask, my challenge to you is, in African leadership groups, something we think about is not just how can we can develop one person. And the reason why we're training 3 million people is because we think we need 900 million jobs in Africa. We challenge our participants to create 300 more jobs. So when we have those 3 people creating 300 jobs, we get to that 900 million. So in this room, I'm challenging you. Stop seeing yourself as a beneficiary of interventions and the government. See yourself as a provider, as a creator of opportunities, and start thinking, how can you develop yourself to be that? So next time we have this kind of thing, you'll be on this panel saying, I just developed 100 people for the future of work, and we can all clap for you as well.
Thank you very much.
Surprisingly, I'm leaning towards what they said. I believe in the power of private citizens, the power of one, and the strength of many. Every one of us here can make a huge difference, and we make that difference individually, but we can also make even a bigger difference collectively. So as we're entering a new decade, because that's where I am right now, as we're entering a new decade, how can we collaborate more? How can we dare bigger things? How can we, just drive bigger things and transform this country so that Canadians can start coming to us? Please, help us. Thank you.
Sorry, before you go, I noticed you said something now. You said bigger things. And you said something before. Something bigger, deeper. What can you go over that?
They will revive it.
It's like you like that word, big. Okay.
So for me, I think the one thing I'm absolutely sure of is the future 30, 50, 100 years from now is not going to look any way like what we all think it is. That's one thing I am sure of. In the 1600s, 1660 to be precise, it was predicted that human beings would one day transplant organs from one body to the next, but we couldn't do that until the 20th century, 300 years later. So we don't know what the future is going to look like. So the one thing I want us to leave us with is the key thing is to learn, to create, and to shape. There are going to be 4 people, whatever that future looks like. There are going to be 4 sets of people in that future. There's going to be those who are excluded, those who are afraid of automation or technology and eventually feel they're going to be left out. There are going to be those who are followers. There are going to be those who are leaders. And then there are going to be those who are drivers. So like everyone else in this room, I enjoin you to join us and be drivers towards that future that we all want. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to say a very big thank you to the audience and a more big thank you to the panelists.